Welcome back to Oil and Gas Safety, Drilling Deeper. I'm your host, as you know, Cham. And in this week, we are going to go deep into hazard assessment, the cornerstone of safe, productive of oil and gas operation. As we discussed in the previous episodes, particularly in the challenges hung faced with lockout and tagout, the reactive approach to the safety simply isn't sufficient with the high stakes of the environment as well. We need to be proactive and anticipate potential hazards before they lead to accidents. That's where the hazard assessments come in. Today, we'll explore different hazard assessment techniques, understand the importance of all stakeholders, and learn how to effectively mitigate and identify risk. Well, let's start with the fundamentals. What exactly is a hazard assessment? Hazard assessment is a systematic process for identifying potential hazards that could cause harm to people, property, or even environment. It involves evaluating the likelihood and severity of the potential incident and implementing controls to reduce or eliminate those risks as part of a hierarchical control chart. It's about identifying what could go wrong and when figuring out how to prevent it. Okay, there are various methods for conducting this assessment. Each of its own have their own strengths and weaknesses. Okay, it's very common in a job to do a safety analysis, which is called JSA.
Component of any health and safety program. It is one of many risk assessment tools that can be used in the formal hazard assessment process to identify and control hazards.
The JSA, also known as Job Safety Hazard Analysis, JSA, breaks down into specific job tasks into individual steps. For each step, potential hazards are identified and specific controls are put in place to mitigate those hazards. Okay, for example, let's say we were replacing a section of piping. The GSA should break down into steps like isolate the pipe, depressurize the system, remove the old pipe, install the new pipe, and so on. So you go on into each step that you need to cover. Exactly, and for each of those steps, you need to identify potential hazards. What could go wrong during the depressurizing the system, the step? Well, if the isolation isn't done properly, we could have residual pressure that could lead to a sudden release of fluids or gases, potentially causing injuries as well. And what controls would you put in place to mitigate that risk? You need to double check the isolation points, verify the pressure gauges, okay? Use proper PPE like gloves, okay? And even you need to have a buddy system, somebody who is there to assist you in case of anything goes wrong. That's the whole picture of a GSA, but GSA are typical focused on routine tasks. Okay, more complex operations, that's where the hazard are operatively studied of HAZOPs, where the HAZOPs comes in critical operations. HAZOPs are more structured and comprehensive approach to hazard assessment, typically used for complex systems or processes. They involve a team experts systematically analyzing the process designed to identify potential potential hazards from the operation conditions and potential consequences for those operations as well. Think of it like this. JSA are like checking the tires on your car before a road trip, but HAZOPs is like having a team of engineers tear down the entire engine, identify the potential weakness. This is the difference. Now let's talk about PPE is important, but it should not be the last line of defense, not the first. We have to see other implementations as part of hierarchical chat control. So there you have it, a deeper look into hazard assessment. Remember, roundabout assessment process coupled with commitment, implementing and maintaining effective controls. This is essential in creating a safe and productive work environment in oil and gas industry, even in other industries as well, where HSE is mandatory and it's a line to save life. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We conclude this episode as the Crimson Stain incident. There are so many things to cover into this episode of this incident, but we are going to look into other incidents worldwide and see what are the corrective measures or controls should have been taken in order to avoid this kind of incident. The next incident, just to give you a tease about it, you know what it will be? It will be the Beirut incident. I think we all know about it. The explosion that happened in Beirut port due to ammonia improper storage. Anyway, I'm going to go deep into that as well and explain accordingly to my experience and knowledge what should have been done in order to prevent that incident. And we are going to learn for future incidents in order to have a clear mind on what to do and what should be taken into action and responsibilities, consequences for such incidents to be addressed and avoided as well. Thank you so much for watching this episode for this series. It will keep on going. This series is going and going. It's all about preventing incidents. So we will go episode by episode as well. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. It's your host, Cham.